Welcome to Community Connections, brought to you by the Dearborn Community Fund and our partner CDTV. I'm Imogene Woodyard. I'm the director at the Community Fund. And normally at this time of year, going into April, we would be talking about Arts Month. In the past few years, April has turned into April Arts Dearborn, where we focus on exhibitions, concerts, performances. Well, due to COVID-19, all of that has stopped pretty much except what we can do virtually or online. And there is a lot going on, particularly art exhibits that can be viewed online. For example, University of Michigan Dearborn through the Stamlos Gallery has a wonderful exhibit, actually two exhibits of photography that would be great to watch. Players Guild of Dearborn is doing virtual performances if you just visit their website. So we're trying to get through April a little differently this year, but still acknowledge all the wonderful arts programs that are going on. One of the things that we will feature on today, on today's program, is the Pockets of Perception. We call it the POP program. It's a student program that produces public art. You're going to get to meet Sunshine Durant, the director, and 4 of the 6 students who participated in the virtual POP project for this year. We're also going to be talking to representatives from the Motor City Brass Band. Some of you may have heard them in performance. They are regrouping again after being idle for almost a year, but they are eager to go, and we are going to be delighted to talk to them and find out, how they got through this time and what they are planning to do going into the summer. I think you will be interested in that. So stay tuned as we go into our Community Connections first interview with Sunshine Durant, the director for the POP program that features the artwork of students throughout Dearborn. Here we are in the Bajeski Gallery, the first time in over a year, and it's wonderful to be back. And what better exhibit to have in here is the one titled Resurgence. It's a project of the Pockets of Perception POP design team, our student team. And we're so pleased to have with us the director of our POP team project, Ms. Sunshine Durant. Sunshine, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this on. What was it like working on a team project virtually?
It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. I needed it. The kids needed it. We were so sick of sitting home and not having any outlets for our emotions for all the COVID. And, people were scared. They were fearful. They were isolated. So this gave these kids a great outlook and a great ability to express what they were feeling. So I was super pleased to be part of this. And I can't be more pleased with the outcomes of it. It's way beyond what I would ever thought, and they did a great job.
Yeah, it must have been very challenging. I know in talking, off and on with some of the students that they had to put a lot of thought into this. So it was a challenge. And the title of the exhibit, as I mentioned earlier, is Resurgence. And what was the thinking behind Resurgence?
Resurgence really thinking about rising up instead of being in that place and being downward. So having the kids come out of this, and what can we do to bring the hope, bring the happy, bring all that back to Dearborn and to the kids and students. Because they're all, I think of them as kids because I've known them since they were kids, but really they're college students and they're getting ready to be professionals. So I'm wrong when I say the kids, but they are really professionals, and by the artwork on the walls, we can really see that and how far they've come.
We talk about POP going forward. Where would you like to see POP go?
I would like to see it spread more throughout the school and actually have the students, the professionals, come back and be mentors for the younger ones and show that the younger ones that they can grow up and be one of these mentors, that they can come back and do it. So more of a professional role in the careers.
We see the finished product on the walls behind you, and they really are pretty awesome. Those were large pieces to do and to do alone. What kind of projects would you like to see POP engaged in? Remember, it's all about teamwork.
So right? I think making a bigger team would be really interesting, and have multiple teams through the cities and them work together and as a more as a firm. So maybe you have a cameraman and maybe you have roles within these little pockets, and they actually come together and work on a bigger project all together, these little tiny pockets from the cities. That'd be really neat.
Well, I know you're always so enthusiastic, and we will be talking about future pop projects, so, you know, we're going to keep you engaged in all of this. I mean, you got through this, and I'm sure it was challenging for you to keep the momentum going. I think that maybe the students working on their own, it was a good thing, but it was also a bad thing.
Well, I really want to thank Bob Curtis, too. He was a big help. He was a mentor to the kids. He joined every single Zoom meeting there was. And without him and you, I don't think this could have been possible, so.
Well, Mr.
Really
Curtis was a retired art teacher and
Yeah.
has a passion for it, and we're so lucky that he's part of it. Well, Sunshine, we look forward to what comes next, but in the meantime, Resurgent on display at the Pajewski Gallery. The building is sort of open at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center. I would imagine as time goes on and people feel more secure, they'll be coming into the building. So we're going to keep this exhibit up for as long as we can, and it's great having you on the team.
It was great doing it, and I can't, like I said, I couldn't be more pleased with this. I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud of the students that were involved, everybody that put this together, and it was such a big undertaking to think about. Like, these students were working as a team, but separately, but sharing thoughts in that whole process, so it was really cool.
They stuck to the theme.
They did.
They stuck to the theme.
Teamwork and resurgence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sunshine. We're going to get to interview some of the student artists, so stick with us. Hi, Kareem. So good to
Hello.
see you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, this is quite a piece that you did for the virtual project. Now, before we get into that, I think you were a member of a previous pop design team as well.
Yes.
Was it part of the infamous fish market
Yeah.
mural project?
The fish market was really difficult at first because all the students had their own ideas, but in the end we came together and created a masterpiece.
Thus the word team.
Yeah, teamwork.
That's what it was all about. So you have fond memories of it.
Yeah.
And when you were contacted about being part of this virtual pop project due to COVID, what did you think?
So at first, because of COVID, I just didn't want to do it. But then I was like, I need to step out of my comfort zone and do something different with, my artwork, because usually I do portraits and I was in the mood to do landscapes. So this was a great opportunity for that.
Tell us a little bit about your piece. First of all, does it have a title?
So the title is Dive Deep, and what that means to me is, and what this piece means to me, is we have all these poppies, and they're a red color, and the background's a red color. So that's a theme of darkness. But when you delve deeper into the topic and the subject matter, you can find that you learn from it and have personal growth from all of this pandemic.
Now, you've graduated from high school, correct?
Yeah.
And are you attending school now?
I'm at U of M Dearborn. I'm doing biology. I kind of want to pursue a career in the arts, but I'm more, in the medical field right now.
Medical school?
Yeah.
So how do you think your involvement in this whole project has helped you?
Oh, it actually helped me a lot. When I applied for jobs, because I'm working at a phlebotomy clinic, and it helped me with that, on my resume. And they just wanted to see teamwork and working with others, and I knew how to do a lot of that thanks to this.
Well, we're really pleased that you took the time to be part of this again. We know it did take time, even though you were doing it virtually. And I should ask you, how was that, working virtually with Miss Sunshine, the director?
I wasn't used to it at first, but I had to adapt because now school is all virtual, so it took some time to get used to.
But you did it.
Yeah.
You did it. Thanks so much, Kareem, for being
Thank you.
part of this. We love it.
Thank you.
We're so pleased to have another one of our pop design students right here in the Pajewski Gallery, Amar Haydar. Amar, thank you for taking time to come over and talk to us about your beautiful piece that's hanging here on the wall under the Pockets of Perception 2020 logo. I know that you were involved in a previous pop project. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get recruited, and what was the project?
Well, it was back in 2018 when I was a senior in Fortson High School. I had actually learned about it when I was a freshman during 2014, and it was from my instructor, Mr. Mohammed Bazi, that I had learned it from. And ever since, throughout my high school career, I was very interested in it. And thankfully, Mr. Bazi actually came back to work for Fortson back in 2018, and he let me know about it again. So through that, I was recruited, and the project was based on rebirth. And so we decided to make a piece that represented something that is very historical within the city of Dearborn, which is the River Rouge. And so through that, we decided to make a very colorful piece, and thankfully, it all worked out really well.
Well, it did work out really well. It's the big mural over in East Dearborn on the fish market, the side of the fish market building. So what did you think when you were contacted about working on the Alumni Pop project?
I was very interested. Obviously, with COVID and everything, we've all been stuck at home, and this was just an opportunity to connect with other artists and expand my portfolio, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this project.
Now, there was a theme for the COVID, we call it the COVID-19 virtual project, and there was a theme for it. Tell us a little bit about the theme.
Well, the theme was resurgence, and we really wanted to focus on how COVID-19 has affected us all, both physically, mentally, emotionally. And so resurgence, like rebirth, and so for that aspect, we really wanted to focus on something that would bring a positive light through all of this.
So tell us now about the piece and how you arrived at your product here.
Well, my piece, there's a lot going on, obviously, but I thought on what to do. Basically, the branches surrounding the piece represent a kind of like darkness or engulfing, and as you get closer to the face, it kind of represents like enlightenment and healing, and the eyes are closed because it's kind of like you're recharging yourself. And so as you get closer to the face, the piece has more life in it, representing the flowers and the leaves and the light around the face. So I wanted to mainly focus my piece on mental health and just trying to heal yourself through a hard time.
Well, I would say it's very effective, and it's a kinetic piece too. Mm-hmm. The flowers, because there's a little breeze here in the gallery, and the flowers are moving, which means they're alive.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Do you have a title for your piece?
My title for my piece was Self-Aware, and basically, self-awareness within yourself, making sure that you're aware of your mental and physical health. And like I said, like this piece is mostly related to mental health and focusing on that.
Well, I think you've been very successful, and Amar, we're so happy that you agreed to come back for the Alumni Pop Project. It's a wonderful piece. We wish you the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we're moving right along. Carolyn Palicki, thank you for coming today to the Pajewski Gallery to tell us about your pop-up project with us. Now, again, before we get into that, I know that you have been part of a past pop project. Which one was it?
I was part of the first one, so I was part of the two sculptures, one in West and one in East Dearborn. They were kind of meant to connect the city. We were also one of the larger projects. I think we started with roughly 14 students, kind of as like we went through, depending on who could make it to meetings, we ended up at 10 to 13 on certain days. But yeah, it was definitely a great project.
So that goes back to 2010.
Yes.
2010, 2011 in there, and that was an enormous project. I think we learned a lot
Yes.
on that one and said, maybe we need to rethink, what we're doing here. But so were you pretty excited to get involved in the alumni project?
Yes, it was great to get the call and kind of see that we were going to be doing it again. It was really cool to see that it was going to be kind of like a different situation. It was nice to be virtual and kind of adapt to the times and to have like a smaller group. I think it came along really cool having individual pictures instead of one collaborative project. I think it really lent itself to the project too, to kind of do something different.
Before we get into the real nitty-gritty, since the title of the project was Resurgence, how did you go about coming up with the theme that you ended up with?
So I kind of spiderwebbed a little bit, and I kind of thought about what it kind of meant to us, what resurgence was going to look like, and I kind of thought about a new tomorrow, a new dawn. The phoenix kind of came up a bit in my brainstorming, so I kind of put those two together. And I felt like the leaping motion I kept going back to was great to kind of show us, you know, putting our efforts into leaping forward and getting to that next day. And that's how I named it A New Tomorrow.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. I know you went to college. You went to, where did you go?
I went to Art Institute, and then I transferred to Macomb Community College. I got a degree in 3D animation and a collaborative media. Currently, I'm just working at Blick Art Materials, kind of waiting this COVID out, but I am hoping to get more into the art scene and do more personal projects while I'm waiting.
Well, just let me say, it's so great to have you back as one of the original popsters, as we would call them, and we love your piece. It really, you can tell a lot of thought went into it, and it expresses it very well.
Thank you.
Thank you for being part of this. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you guys.
Yeah. Well, just to clarify things, the POP team actually had 6 participants on it. Not everybody could make it for this video, and some are a little camera shy. So I would like to say last but absolutely not least is Isabella Durant. I think we call you Bella. Either way, it's a beautiful name. Bella, you've been part of a past POP team as well. Yeah. Which one were you involved in?
The fish meal as well.
Oh, the famous fish market. Yes, those hot summer days up on the lift. Were you one of them up there?
Yeah, I was in the little closed off area as well too.
So what did you think about this project? It was a virtual project with the title Resurgence. How did you come up with your subject matter?
At first, I really didn't know what I was gonna do, and then I was thinking, I'm like, what is like strength and like powerful, like for everyone to like see that will like give them like hope and whatever. And I just thought about the phoenix bird, and then I kept doing more, and I'm like, oh, I need to add something to the background. So I thought like the blue and white in the background would be cool to like show it like rising or whatever. And then the building's just an older church building that I thought was cool to put in the background with it.
How did you get your inspiration for the old church building? Because I like that part of it. That's kind of spooky.
I really was just thinking about birds and everything, and I was like, what would go with that? And I just thought about like an old church, like unique church building that was like really cool. It has the dome figure at the top, which you can't really see because the bird's covering it up, but it usually does, like if the bird's tail wasn't in the way.
Are you involved in the art programs in school?
Yes, right now I'm taking ceramics and also intro to, I think it's drawing and painting, but I'm in advanced ceramics right now.
Well, it's a very striking piece, and having done this and conversed with the others on the team, have you learned anything about art and yourself and the approach and COVID or?
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot during this. It was definitely kind of harder with it being virtual, but because you can't really see everybody, it's not like you can think about and share ideas with everyone really, because it's like when we're on the Zoom meetings, we're talking about like what we need to be done and everything, but like we don't really talk to everybody about what our ideas are, and I feel like if we were in person, we'd have more of that, like more communication and more like working with others, working on your project together and everything.
And did I ask you, if I did, forgive me, the title of your piece?
The title of my piece is Resurgence.
It is Resurgence, so it fits right in with the theme. How think about that. Well, thank you for joining Pockets of Perception 2020, Bella. Beautiful work, and beautiful work from all of the students. We really, really are happy with the outcome.
Thanks.
Good teamwork. Thank you.
To better serve residents, Dearborn's Property Maintenance and Development Department has opened a new call center. The number is 313-943-2150, and representatives will be able to answer calls Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and it's never been easier to get information about the many services this department offers.
If it's sanitation needs, if it's a tree issue, if it's a work without permit or a permit question, if you're selling your home, if you need a rental inspection, it's everything that we handle through one number. Whoever takes the call will look up whatever information you need. They can schedule a home sale inspection, they can schedule a rental inspection, a permit inspection, they can get you permit information, sanitation pickup, they can order you a new garbage can. If they cannot answer though, they will send an email to the person with the most experience in that field, and they will respond to you within 1 day. The secondary piece to the call center is we have created 6 new emails. So if you don't feel like calling and talking, if you would like to just schedule an inspection, if you have a permit question, I always recommend you use one of the new emails. There's DBN Sales if you're selling your home. There's DBN Rentals if you want to do a rental inspection, schedule an inspection. There's DBN Permits if you have permit questions, if you want to schedule a permit. There's NS Dearborn for neighborhood services. There's Sanitation at Dearborn. That's if you need a new garbage can, if you need a replacement, if there's damage. And then there's Vector at Dearborn.
If you have any questions for Dearborn's Property Maintenance and Development Department, contact them at the new call center at 313-943-2150. A representative is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to assist you.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another portion of Community Connections brought to you by Dearborn Community Fund. We have learned a lot about the visual arts in the first part of this program, and now we're going to talk about the musical arts with 2 guests from Motor City Brass Band. I would like to welcome Craig Strain. Wave your hand, Craig. And Mark Stevens. Tell us a little bit about Motor City Brass Band. We'll start with Craig on that.
Well, we're celebrating our 25th year this year, and we're planning a concert to mark that date on July 27th in Dearborn at the Ford Field, Cherry Hill Park. And our plan is to fill the concert up with representative music that represents what we've done over the years. We're pretty excited about it, and we're very happy that Dearborn has allowed us to do our concert in that spot. We've been doing our concert series at the Ford Community Performing Arts Center for, 10 years now, Mark?
Longer than that.
Longer than that, and it's one of the finest auditoriums you find anywhere. We love performing there. And so we're just excited that we're going to be able to celebrate our 25 years.
Now, Craig, have you been with the band since its inception? 25 years?
I started the second week.
That's pretty close to the beginning. And what about you, Mark? How long have you been with Motor City Brass Band?
I have been with the band. This is my 22nd year with the band.
Good. And I should give you the titles, too. I have you down, Craig, as director and conductor for Motor City Brass Band, and Mark as artistic chair. Mark, tell us what's the difference between the artistic chair and what the work of the director-conductor is?
Well, I chaired the artistic committee for the band, and really what we do is we work with Craig on pretty much everything that happens on stage. The music that we play, the staging that we do, any of the shtick that we pull out, we do with the artistic committee. And we're really fortunate. We have a great working relationship between the committee and Craig. We meet every month, and we discuss, we collaborate, and usually by the end of the meeting, we have a really good plan going forward. And so I'm really happy to be chairing that committee.
One of the things that makes our relationship not rare, but a little unusual, is the ability to come up with ideas, to disagree and to agree, and just have a great relationship. I've been involved with other groups similar. And quite often, there's a little bit of a clash between the director and the group that would like to do things their way. But in this case, there's no clash at all. We just come up with the best ideas. And aside from the monthly meetings, Mark and I communicate almost daily about what's going on with the band and how to move forward, and personnel and music and all sorts of details. And that's just a huge plus for me as the music director and for the band itself.
Do you sit a kind of ex officio on this committee, Craig?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you do.
I attend the meetings and have my opinions, and we toss our ideas back and forth. Yes.
And,
Now,
the other thing that we do is we all understand that Craig is the music director. He is the one, it is really his role to make these decisions. And we work together, and 99 times out of 100, what Craig ends up deciding is really what we've all agreed with. There's every now and then he does something and we kind of go, okay. But it usually works out just fine.
and the band played on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's it's with all groups, not just Motor City Brass Band, but if you develop a certain chemistry amongst the individuals, it can be a beautiful thing. And it sounds like that Motor City Brass Band is in that place right now. I know that 25 years, Craig, you mentioned 25 years. I was going to bring that up as well. And you mentioned the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center. I think you kind of regard that as a home base for your performances. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that's where we have our 4-concert series every year. And we play other places, other venues, churches, communities, but that's our main concert focus of each season.
Now, there's a really important question I want to ask you, and either one of you can answer this. In your literature or on your website, you describe your organization as a British-style brass band. What is typical of a British-style brass band? How does it differ from other brass bands?
The biggest difference right off the bat is the instrumentation. Cornets instead of trumpets, tenor horns, sometimes called alto horns instead of French horns. Euphoniums and baritones. In a lot of concert bands, those are interchangeable. In ours, they're not. They have their distinct personality. E-flat basses and B-flat basses. Concert bands and orchestras have one type of bass. We have two. An E-flat soprano cornet that would represent the highest part. A flugelhorn, which often is associated with jazz, but in the brass band is a regular member of the entourage, trombones, and a full percussion section. So that particular instrumentation defines the British brass band.
A few years ago, there was a movie out that was kind of popular about a British brass band. I believe it was called Noises. Was it called Noises Off? Was that it?
Brassed Off.
Brassed Off. Okay. It was very delightful. I remember it was quite a few years ago, but I never did quite understand the distinction. Now, Mark, you're a euphonium player. Is that correct?
That's correct. I'm the solo euphonium for the band.
And how were you attracted to that instrument? Let me ask you that.
I started college. I was a music major in college. I started as a tuba major. I got finished with my first semester in my freshman year, and I went to my private instructor and said, I really don't like the tuba all that much. And he put a euphonium in my hand, and the clouds parted, the sun shone down, the angels sang, and that was early in 1977. And I've been playing the euphonium ever since.
Well, I'll be watching for the euphonium when I come to your concerts. Again, we talk about 25 years. It's a long time for an organization to stick together. Where do you draw your members from? And are they volunteer members mostly? Are they paid members? What is the makeup of the orchestra? The band, I should
I
say.
call them unpaid professionals.
Unpaid professional. That's legitimate.
That's my term for them.
That's a very legitimate way to describe it.
We tend to attract very dedicated musicians who maybe had an experience in a community band, and there's some great community bands around in the Detroit area, but there's also some that take the whole thing a little bit lightly, and we're a little more intense, so we tend to attract a musician who's looking for a bigger challenge and a higher level of musicianship.
When I joined the band, as I said, I was a music major. I spent 3 years playing in one of the Army bands, and I played in several different community bands. The first rehearsal I went to, we were about halfway through the rehearsal, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to have to practice. The parts in a brass band are very challenging. The euphonium's parts can be extremely challenging. And it's really nice to have that challenge. But the other thing that Craig didn't mention was that we're always having fun. That's I think the big draw of particularly this band is that it is very much a family, and we enjoy each other's company. We get along, we have fun together. And that's what makes Motor City Brass Band, I think, very special.
Absolutely.
It sounds like a real labor of love. And this brings up the whole issue that we've all experienced this past year with the pandemic. I would imagine that the group has not been able to get together to rehearse and perform. Am I correct on that?
At first, we were rehearsing outside. It was last summer. And then fall came along, and the restrictions got increased. We just started back up again because we're allowed to have 25 people given our geographic space inside of our rehearsal. So we're 6 feet apart. We wear masks until we actually start playing. Some people continue to wear masks and have a little slit that their mouthpiece goes through. When we take our break, we have an industrial fan that we put by doors that face the outside, and we blow all the germs out, and everybody's out down the hallway, and then we bring them back, and we do our second half of the rehearsal. So we've had 3 rehearsals now, and we started with 17 people, and we've increased it up to our 25. And we're hoping that the 25 goes to 35 soon, because we have 32 when we have 100% there. And we're preparing for concerts, so we're looking forward to the day we can get all 32 people in that room.
So very quickly now, you mentioned the concert that is planned for June 27th at Ford Field. We're very excited about that. What other concerts do you have on your play agenda for this summer?
Before our 25th, we're going to play in front of the Dearborn Library, which we've done before. We're going to do a patriotic concert, and that is
May 30th.
May 30th. That's outside also. And we hope to get back inside for our annual Halloween concert, which is actually right on Halloween this year, and that will be at Ford Community Performing Arts Center. And then our Sounds of the Season, our holiday concert in December 19th. Right now, those are scheduled for inside.
We're all hopeful that we can get back indoors soon. I know that the folks over at the Michael A. Guido Theater at the Ford Community Performing Arts Center are getting calls. So people are starting to think about getting back into the routine of indoor performances. Well, we will certainly look forward to your June 27th concert. And we certainly look forward to, moving ahead. And just one other real quick thing. I know that you have a website. And if people want to know more about Motor City Brass Band, they can go to, what is the website?
It's www.mcbb.org.
No, Motor City Brass Band, mcbb.org. And you can learn all about the upcoming season, should everything go according to plan, how you can be involved if you're a musician, want to make contact, I would imagine, and more about what the Motor City Brass Band does to promote the British-style brass band concept and keep it alive in our community. So I thank you both for taking the time to be here, talk a little bit about your organization. And we're going to close this segment out with a video from a past performance, and thank you for sharing that, featuring a performance of Gershwin's Strike Up the Band. Everybody's going to recognize this. Thanks so much to both Craig and Mark for being here. We look forward to many happy concerts ahead. Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Southeast Michigan, the world-renowned and musically spectacular Motor City Brass Band.
Well, we're bringing another edition of Community Connections to an end, but before we do that, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the wonderful sponsors that in particular sponsored the Pockets of Perception. They have been with us for a long time, and I want to acknowledge them. We thank the Ford Motor Company Fund, the Koch Family Foundation, Culture Source, a program of the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, Mr. Robert W. Curtis, who is an advisor to the POP team and a generous supporter, and many other community members. If you are interested in supporting the Pockets of Perception Student Design Team project going forward, you just call us at the Dearborn Community Fund office. We'd love to hear from you. Again, we want to thank our guest, Sunshine Durant, the director for the Pockets of Perception program, and our guests from the Motor City Brass Band. We're really looking forward to the summer concerts with them. And want to just plant a little seed with you to go out and look about in the community and find the public art that is all around us. I think you'd be surprised. Give you some hints: the Joy of Music at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center, the Arch at City Hall Park, the Bench at the Pocket Park in West Dearborn, but there's plenty more. So familiarize yourself with public art. You know what they say? Art makes the world go round. At least we think so. Thanks again for joining Community Connections. We'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.